Hey, hello and welcome. This is the third installment of Steve's tea vlogs. It is a cold and rainy weekend afternoon in otherwise sunny Estonia, and I've decided that I really would feel like some oolong tea today, and I wanted to share with you my method of preparing oolong. Oolong? It's a little bit of a new word in the tea language here in Estonia and in many other countries as well. Although it is an extremely large category of tea. So oolong is a category of tea like the more familiar black, or which is called red in China, or green teas. First I'll show you how to identify an oolong tea that usually comes in one of two forms only, two visual forms. One that looks like this is very green, fresh, and is basically a rolled large leaf or bud and leaf. Sometimes you'll even get a little bit of a twig there, or a lot of a twig. However, this is also an oolong tea. It looks completely different. It looks closer to black tea, although it looks almost like an original leaf just lying on the floor of the forest, but pretty dark. And oolongs can even look like this, which really does look like something you might trip over on a forest floor while hunting for mushrooms on an otherwise rainy weekend afternoon in Estonia. Why do they look so different? Because basically this category, which is an intensely and almost endlessly fascinating category of tea, is so wide because the usual definition of oolong is that it's a tea that's positioned between green and black on the oxidation scale. So a tea can be quite close to green tea, which is basically 0% oxidized. It can be as low as 10% oxidation. This is a tea guanyin from the Anxi region in Fujian province in China, which is about 20% oxidized. And this one is a Formosa champagne oolong, which is close to about 70% oxidized. So you get a great variety of flavors and range of tastes and odors in oolong tea. Oolong is sometimes written Woolong, you'll see it, but the closest pronunciation in Mandarin Chinese is something like, and here goes, Woolong cha. I did practice that because it's basically Woolong cha. Tell me if this is a wrong pronunciation. And it's been around for as long as about 1,000 years, depending on the legends that you listen to. But as early as the 10th century, it was an emperor's gift tea, which means it was a tea good enough to present from the southern provinces to the emperor of China at the time. There are different legends of how it got its name, which we can say for another day, but the one I like best is just the most practical, is that very often on an oolong tea you'll get a little curl where the tip curls up, and it reminds you, doesn't it, of the tail of a dragon. So I will show you how to make some oolong tea. And I'm not going to say that I'm doing a Chinese tea ceremony here, mainly because I don't really believe in naming things like that or giving things a name. If I was going to say that I am now going to do the Chinese tea ceremony, it wouldn't do much justice to the Chinese tea ceremony and also to the many varieties of Chinese tea ceremonies, because it's very flexible and open to many different kinds of interpretations. But some of the movements I will be making are common to what is often called the Chinese tea ceremony, or chado, or gong-fu. And certain elements are common to everything. You need a lot of water. So I would suggest boiling water and filling up a nice snazzy Danish design, thermos that you keep handy with a lot of water. First thing I'm doing is warming everything up. And this is something that all Chinese like to do. It cleans everything that you're going to use, and mainly it's for the maintenance of constant temperature. So much so that often the outsides of everything that you use are also warmed up. Don't be scared of a lot of water, and no, this hot water is not dripping on my on my knees. Today I really feel like having something quite special. It's something that a friend of mine in Germany brought for me. He brought it back, picked the day before he left from Anxi also, which is the home of Tiguanyin. Tiguanyin is the most famous current oolong on the market. It's almost a household necessity in southern China, and this was just ripe, and they haven't even taken the stems off. Usually this is just the stem. Cool. Usually the Chinese just go and take the stems off, and you get something that looks like this. But this is actually called raw tea. So now that this is heated but emptied, I'm going to put my tea in, close it, give it a moment, keep doing this. One of the great things about oolong is that you can infuse it so many times. You use a relatively large amount of tea for ideally a small amount of water. In what can you prepare it? Pretty much anything. It likes a high temperature, so I would go with something clay. This is my preferred little pot. A gaiwan is also amazing. No reason not to use a gaiwan. It's what I usually use. It's the quickest. And inside it's a porcelain lining, which means that you could also use a porcelain pot. Glass is possible as well, but it's never going to be as hot, and you might miss out on some of the more complex aromas and tastes from it. Then, as I keep repeating to people, don't forget this very wonderful moment in the tea making process where your pot is warm, the leaves are in, but there's no water yet. Just take a nice little sniff. Ah, man, this is just fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. I had the great pleasure once of visiting the Anxi province in Fujian, and several plantations making Tiguanyin. And by the way, the videos for that are posted on this Facebook site. Just go under videos if you want to see the processing of Tiguanyin. Please check the videos out. But the entire area smelt like that. Just making sure there's no droplets of water. So now I'm ready for my first infusion. Just pour that in. The water is about 90 to 95. Perfect for oolong. I let it go right to the top so that there's no even air in there. It's going to be a short first infusion because I want to make many infusions. And that's the beauty of all oolong teas, especially the rolled ones. This will give you maybe 2 infusions, but not, you can get a 3rd one, but not as great. And a little bit of different character is going to be revealed with each infusion. This is where you get to really understand your tea, and just like meeting a person that reveals different aspects of itself throughout its life in its infusions. There are 3 basic ways to pour out your tea if you want. I'm giving you 3 versions here, and by the way, on this table there are more things that you will normally need at home, so don't get too confused. I'll make things even less confusing right now. You can basically pour this out directly into a large cup that holds exactly the same amount of water, so that there's no water in contact with the leaves continuing the steeping. Or you can pour it into a jug, basically like this, which is referred to as the cup of fairness in China. Why? Because if you pour 1, then the 2nd, then the 3rd cup of tea, your 1st and 3rd or 4th or 5th are going to be completely different. The first is very light, the last is very heavy, so you want something that will balance it. So either pour everything out at once, into here, and from here into smaller cups, or, and I'm saying this quickly because I don't want it to get too steeped, you go something like this. If you've got many cups, pour a little bit like this, then back and back and back. You basically want to even out the infusion. That's the main thing. This is smelling absolutely incredible, and this is such a rare tea too. Just came off the plantation's hands. Okay, I'm getting all excited now. Okay, just wanted to share some little bit of excitement about oolong tea with you. I hope it was instructive, and we'll see you next time. Meanwhile, I can't wait anymore. Ah, man, floral, creamy, almost buttery, orchids. A lingering sweetness, This is absolutely blessed, blessed tea, and it's perfect after a hard night. And a friend uses this to prevent getting too drunk when he goes out on business meetings with Chinese people who insist that they drink. So most of my Estonian friends have found this use of oolong tea completely uninteresting, but the morning after, this will help to clear up ahead. And if you don't want to get as drunk as everybody else is, drink oolong tea at the same time that you're drinking alcohol. You're not going to get drunk. Otherwise, this just clears out cobwebs and gives you a really nice smile on your face, like this. See you next time.